You ever have one of those weekends that sneaks up on you, quietly, without any warning, yet somehow changes the way you look at someone forever? The kind of weekend that starts ordinary but leaves you with questions you can't stop turning over in your head. That's exactly what happened to me, and it all began with a single request that shattered the silence in our family. It was a warm Sunday in Savannah, Georgia. The kind of day where the breeze feels like a soft hand brushing across your skin, carrying with it the sweet scent of magnolia. I was on the porch, sipping sweet tea from a tall glass, rocking slowly in my chair. That's when my phone buzzed. It was my sister, Amanda. She sounded rushed, her words tumbling out. "Claire, I hate to ask this last minute, but I have a work trip that just came up. Could you watch Ryan for the weekend? I really owe you one." I didn't hesitate. "Of course," I said. I hadn't seen my nephew in almost a year. The last time I remembered him, he was still boyish, polite, soft-spoken, always eager to help with little chores around the house. Sweet in a way most teenagers had long grown out of. But when Ryan showed up that evening, I had to catch my breath. He wasn't the boy I remembered. He was taller, his shoulders broader, his voice carrying that deeper tone that made him sound older than his age. Yet, when he hugged me, it was the same warmth I knew from before. "Hey, Aunt Claire," he said with that easy grin. "Thanks for letting me crash here." We spent the day catching up. I cooked his favorite spaghetti with extra garlic bread, and we ended up sprawled on the couch, watching a crime series we both liked. The hours slipped away, the house grew quiet, and the only glow was from the TV flickering across the room. It was then that Ryan turned to me, his expression suddenly serious. "Aunt Claire, can I ask you something personal?" I paused the show, giving him my full attention. "Of course." He hesitated, looking down at his hands. "It's kind of embarrassing. I don't really know who else to talk to." "Just say it," I urged gently. And slowly, he opened up. He told me about a girl he liked who never seemed to notice him, about how his friends teased him for never having had a girlfriend, about the pressure to always look confident and unshaken when half the time he didn't even know what being a man was supposed to mean. His voice cracked in places, the vulnerability raw. He hated feeling weak, so he kept it bottled up. I listened carefully, my heart aching for him. Then, I shared my own stories from when I was his age, the awkward crushes, the embarrassing moments, the lessons I only learned the hard way. He laughed, and so did I. For the first time that night, the tension drained from his shoulders. But it was later, after I had started making up the guest bed, that it happened. I heard him at the doorway. "Aunt Claire," he said quietly, "can I sleep in your room tonight? Like when I was little." For a moment, I froze. Not because his request was strange, but because it startled me. A 17-year-old, asking for something so simple, so vulnerable. I turned to look at him. His eyes weren't demanding or mischievous. They were just searching. Wanting a safe place. "Sure, honey," I said softly. "Just like old times." We lay on opposite sides of the bed. He drifted off quickly, his breathing soft and steady in the dark. But I couldn't sleep right away. I found myself staring at the ceiling, thinking about how hard it must be to be his age, carrying the weight of expectations while still figuring yourself out. The air between us was still, yet charged with something unspoken. Not inappropriate. Not wrong. Just heavier than it should have been. I wondered if he could feel it too, the closeness, the way the silence seemed to hum with tension neither of us dared to break. The next morning, I made pancakes. He sat at the counter, scrolling his phone, his hair still mussed from sleep. He glanced up and said quietly, "Thanks for last night. I feel better." "Anytime," I told him, forcing myself to sound casual even though my chest ached with something I couldn't name. We spent the day walking through the park, the sun warming our backs. Ryan told me about wanting to study marine biology, about his dream of seeing the ocean and doing something meaningful with his life. I smiled, watching his eyes light up. "I think you'll do great," I said, and I meant it. That evening, Amanda returned. She looked tired but managed a smile as she hugged me and ruffled Ryan's hair. "How was it?" she asked. Ryan shrugged with that same teenage half-grin. "It was good. Aunt Claire's cool." After they left, The house fell quiet again. I sat back on the porch, the night air brushing against my skin, and let myself replay the weekend. Nothing explosive had happened. No grand confessions. Just quiet conversations, soft truths, and a single request spoken at a bedroom door that shifted something inside me. Ryan still calls sometimes. We talk about movies, books, his college plans. And every time he does, I remember that weekend. Sometimes life doesn't change with fireworks or thunder. Sometimes it shifts with a whisper, with a simple, almost childlike plea. Can I sleep in your room tonight? And everything after feels different. More connected. Maybe even dangerously close to something neither of us could say out loud.